In and Out with Professor Yalman at University TED University Ankara Studios, Radio TEDU, and our producer Arda has given the go ahead, and I have Noor from Egypt, my dear student. And Noor, something different from Noor is interesting actually. She's taking some of my classes just voluntarily, She's not merited for that. She's just there, and she's there every class, and she speaks, and she challenges me, and she has all these wonderful ideas. And I think Noor is a good leader because she's organizing her group in our BA 464 brand management class. But before talking too much about Noor, yes, Noor, welcome to our studios. Let us know you first.
Hello. I don't like to identify myself as from Egypt.
Okay.
Because I'm
Cross
an Arab
that.
in general. Yeah, I'm not nationalist. I'm an Arab, obviously international, and not the kind of random person,
Not the kind of not being a nationalist, but being Arab. Does that make you racist?
No, why race? Actually, being racist is about how do you identify racism, because to other people, I am racist, and for me, I'm not.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't, we can always go around these definitions, but yes, you're right. But let us talk about your topics.
Well, I have prepared some that I don't know if you're gonna accept both of them or not, but
it's not accepting, of course. This is an open platform that we talk. I mean, we don't want to point fingers at people. We don't want to go and be unjust to people, but we're here to talk about everything, so whatever you want.
Okay, so my first question was, behind your bohemian personality, you're not actually the random Turkish person anyone can see around. So what's the story behind? I'm sure there is a quite
I'm not
strong
Turkish
story. Interesting. What is
I'm exactly like you. I don't consider myself a nationalist or patriot because I was schooled in different places on earth, but leave my schooling to one side. I believe that if God created us, all humanity, even though we came from a starship and into this world, that's what I think actually. The Noah's Ark was a starship, I think. That flood was somewhere else, and then we came here.
Yes.
But that's my interpretation. Anyway, so if God created us, or we came into being, I mean, dividing each other into races and flags and countries, where we have this huge, humongous world, which has a lot of beauties in it, I think it's very poor and primitive to announce yourself being part of one nation. That's why I am a global citizen. I declare myself a global citizen. Yes, I hold Turkish citizenship. I have nothing. There's nothing wrong with being Turkish, by the way. But I declare myself more of a global societal person than just belonging to one patriotic definition.
Yes, definitely.
So, I mean, like yourself, you're even condensing yourself to be an Arab. I'm not even saying I'm a Hun or a Macedonian or European or Asian, whatever. I'm just a human avatar with some energy in there who performs his task in life.
Yes. But the way you speak and the way you perform, actually, it's either you have a story behind it or you got trained to do so, because I think it's kind of a reaction. The way you facilitate people in the university and the way you perform, it's not like any other professors. So what's your story?
It's a reaction towards it's a reaction towards an education system which is designed to teach you what to think rather than how to think. So my reaction is for you guys to understand the clarity and manifesting power of not what to think but how to think. So if you learn how to think, if you're liberal in your thoughts and quests and questionnaires, I think you will get more out of this life. And your task in life to identify that, you will be on a better path. And that's why my actually relevance of being a professor is, I'm not competing with any other professor or their methods, or I'm not criticizing their methods either. But my method is for your self-discovery, and that self-discovery starts with asking questions to your own core, authentic self.
For example, reflecting to what you're saying, I'm a kind of person who doesn't care about how other people think about, due to my story, like my story of, for example, having a lot of thoughts that they're being unaccepted or being unaccepted by how I behave, so I became
So what is your story?
Oh my god, it's too long. My story that they say I have a great personality, strong personality.
What you say is your...
I believe so as well.
So your story is your personality.
My story is how I became what I am today.
How did you become what you're today?
Being unaccepted, being always the not polite, but not the quiet person who always obeys and never go against. I've been always going against. I've been always questioning, and in such an education system back home that the teachers just want to finish the sessions as fast as possible, or just finish as much as possible in 45 minutes. So I was questioning, and they were like,
why is education being treated all over the world the same? Like, why is it always positioned as a burden and a dictated system rather than a fun thing to be part of? Why do you think? Like, what you're saying right now is not very different in Russia.
I believe it's about the culture. Like, if you change how people think, and if you change how people behave, and their priorities in life is going to change.
So once life changes, then you cannot rule them. So you cannot govern them.
No, it doesn't work like it's not relatable, actually.
So it's like George Orwell saying, in Animal Farm, some animals are equal, but others are more equal. So let's give everybody the taste of equality, but through the education system, let's oppress certain people, and let's elevate certain other people where they rule those other people, etc. And we call the system education.
Your thoughts might be correct. I don't go against them, but I didn't deeply think about something like this. But I believe that the only thing that I thought about my education is that, and what I mean by my education is the Egyptian education, because in high school I went to a British system. It's about deconstructing it and reconstructing it again.
What are you protesting against?
I am protesting against the occupation happening in Palestine.
But before that's like a common thing for a lot of people. Being talking about any sort of occupation we are against.
Yes.
But what are you protesting from the early on Noor that you discovered? What is Noor living for?
In fact, it's Hajam, I don't want to cry.
But this microphone,
it rushes.
Look, this microphone is an emotional microphone.
Yeah.
Yes, we dance in the studio, but yes, we cry in the studio at the same time. So whatever emotional outburst is there, you're welcome. So no problem for us if it's not a problem for you. So be okay. Be comfortable, please. So what are you living for?
I am living for completing the aim of this life according to what I believe in. And so it's like a test. Like life is like a test.
Okay.
So it's either, according to my belief, to succeed or fail in it. And so I hope I am succeeding in it.
So you're living to pass the test and be successful so that you reunite with the beloved.
Could be.
Allah.
Yes.
Beloved.
You're right.
Excellent. All right. That's a very nice description of what, for a question like that.
Because of my kind of personality, that I think that it kind of links with yours, and I have a story behind it. So I was like expecting to hear kind of a story that you were also unaccepted in the society, or like you were kind of the black sheep there. And
my story is this: I am accepted, but I make it myself unaccepted. I am always the pigeon which is black among the pigeons which are white. But I can easily paint myself into white, but I'm not doing that. As a black pigeon, I'm going around and poking other people. So my story is actually, some people it's self-sabotaging, My story is actually just living my id. As in Freudian terms. I'm not living my super ego or ego. I'm living my id. My whatever is bursting in me, I'm trying to sort of put it there. That's my story. So I'm not rebelling against anybody. I'm not rebelling against any thought. I'm just a collectivist.
Yes,
I look at collective wisdom and I cherish collective wisdom, but at the same time I try to sort of put forth what is burning or boiling inside me onto the table, so people sort of are poked. That's my life purpose, I think. I poke people.
Yes. Also, another thing I noticed about you, and I'm like this as well, is seeking attention. Like, I'm an attention seeker too. And like you've been telling us, for example, about your birthday. Happy birthday, first of all.
Okay.
But you've been telling about your birthday like since last week, more than once in one class, and I was like, this guy is an attention seeker, and I would like also, if there is a story behind it. And
I'm a narcissist.
Oh, really? Nice to hear this.
I love myself.
Okay.
I love myself. Of course, I'm an attention seeker.
Yeah.
I am promoting my movie. I love my movie. Of course, I'm an attention seeker. That feeds me, and I feed back. If you want attention, I'm giving you the attention you desire, and if I want attention, I get the attention that's desired.
Yes.
The thing is, there's a thin line of being a megalomaniac versus attention seeking, where Edward de Bono says sometimes your hat of peace, wisdom, whatever is fulfilled like this. Sometimes your hat with love and compassion, whatever is filled like this. My hat of giving inspiration back and excitement back, whatever, is also fulfilled with the attention I get. I like being the rock star I am.
Yes.
Nobody says to me you're a rock star. I declare myself a rock star. Look at these tattoos. My bracelets, my earring. I'm a rock star. But this has nothing to do with you or her or him, whatever. It's me.
Yes, and I'm
and I see myself in this big stage of the world, and I'm acting and I'm performing my songs. My songs are my teachings. My songs are my facilitation, my friendships, my love stories, my friendships, my business, my failing, my success, whatever. Those are my songs. And on Spotify, go in, and all my songs actually are all the albums that I made. They can be film musics. They can be the film music of my own biographic film. That was the mindset behind it, doing those albums, for example. Of course, as standalone, some songs are nice, but they're all from beginning to an end in one album is a sequence of show. That's why I love NBA, because it's show. It's not regular basketball. It's show basketball, with the audience and the painting on the paint on the floor, the glass boards and the music and the commentators. It's a circus, and it's, and a lot of people are seeking attention there. They're getting attention. Don't you think they're seeking attention as well? They are. Everybody seeks attention. Everybody likes attention.
Obviously.
Everybody likes being liked.
Yeah, but with different levels. So, how
doesn't-
did it start with you to be an attention
Well,
seeker?
the day I was born, I was given so much attention that I didn't want to lose that attention.
Are you a lonely child?
I was the first child to a family of not seeing a child for a very long time. But I'm not the only child. I have my sister, of course, and etc. But I still get the attention from the family. Still, it was introduced to me, and I liked it. It's like drugs. That's my drug.
Okay. I don't know why am I attention seeker, but yeah, I like to be the spotlight on things
So
there.
So there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm saying. Doing things doing things under a spotlight, if it sort of puts you into that mechanism of a better performance, then be it. It's much nicer than being very dull and very boring.
Yeah, obviously, you're
Yeah.
right.
So
Also, I have another question for you.
Sure.
It's away from your personality, but you're always in your classes asking questions, and you're searching for who is going to answer the right question, and you scream and say, yes,
Yes.
that's it. But haven't you ever was shocked or like even surprised by someone's answer that you were like, you felt a light bulbed in your head and you said, oh, I never thought about it this way?
Many of them is like that, actually.
Can you tell us one of them?
Many of them are like that. For example, one student of mine, we were talking about an incident where we were talking about brands and how brands are catering the perceptive issues and everything. And I asked the question of like, what is the brand essence of this brand? And I had my answer in my mind because it was in the case, whatever. But she got up and she said, the brand actually doesn't have a clear essence, and it's in the making of that essence. That's why they like to serve and approach their communication systematic as a very blurry and unidentified way. And I never thought about that, for example, and I wrote it on the blackboard right away. I mean, it was not in the case, it was not very visible, but she made it, she proved herself righteously in terms of how she was exemplifying the entire structure in her answer. So it was beautiful.
Is there something like related to philosophy?
Is there something related to philosophy in terms of what?
Philosophy of life.
Well, everybody has their own philosophy of life.
Yes.
Right? You might have your own philosophy of life. I might have my own philosophy of life. My philosophy of life is making sure that you are performing your task, whatever that is. I mean, and as you're performing your task, you have your own formula. And my formula is life is equal to prosperity, and prosperity is equal to W2, which is wealth and wisdom, plus health, in brackets, love, and mega brackets, consent of God. So, but as I'm performing my task in life, which is poking people, making sure that we're enlightened both in mindful and heartful ways, as I'm performing this. Yeah, most of the time I think that like I appreciate the angle that the students bring or my debaters bring to me, but that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I mean, yes, I'm poking people, but they're poking me back with information from the future. Like, you are teaching me a lot of things as a student from the future. So I'm like in that movie Back to the Future constantly. So, I mean, it's not surprising me. See, I am not an ego-minded person where I think I know best. I like collective wisdom, as I said. I like to be wrong, actually. But nowadays, unfortunately, my audience is not reading a lot, is not listening a lot, is not watching a lot. They're just basing their thoughts and their regulatory systems based on social media. And social media is not the best tutor or best exponential factor to one's development, I think.
Yes.
So
you're right.
as long as I am in the situation where I have read more, I have listened more, whatever, even to the musics. Like if I have listened to street jazz and hip hop and punk music more than you, which is actually your youth's music, then I'm still more. I'm still going to be in the stands of manipulating you more than you manipulate me. But in reality, I want my students to manipulate me as well.
Okay.
Manipulation in good sense here.
It's fine. Even if it's bad, it's also fine. Then what else do you do for a living other than facilitating students in different universities?
I do consulting. I consult startups. Right now, I'm in the process of establishing a system with a partner of mine to go into K-12, so high schools, with a module of awareness and dreaming, imagination and planning and performing their plans. So a different module, and I want to sort of expand that. But at the same time, I am solving perception problems for people and institutions. That's what I do.
Okay. And my last question is, I know you're not a brainwash person, and it's not easy to brainwash you, and you're kind of a yoga ambassador, but why you chose Islam as a religion to believe in and to practice as well?
Because I believe Islam is a very rational system of having a life where you are sturdy, mindful, and heartful. The core of Islam is actually consent of a larger being than you. So in the quest of getting that consent and performing your task, I think there is redemption, even before dying. Islam has a philosophy in it which is ageless, and Islam also has a practice in it which actually involves rejuvenating your body and mind through systems like namaz and fasting. I think it's a very modern religion, but it's being narrated and communicated old-fashioned. So I think if Islam was rebranded like yoga was rebranded, I think Islam would have more followers, because people tend to sort of go into Islam in terms of symbolic acts, like, covering yourself or not drinking or not eating this animal or that animal, whatever. I think those are not Islam. Islam, yes, but not Islam, because I think the core of Islam is doing good, being in peace with you and with your environment, but at the same time living your life towards a philosophy of awakening, of being a more super being than you are feeling right now. So evolution in spirit. So I think people should leave these symbolism things to one side and look at the core of the lifestyle it is introducing.
Did you hear about it from somebody, or it's your own conclusion?
It's my own research. For me, Islam is a continuous research. I never stop going and exploring more. For example, when I read the Quran, I read it with a pencil and I write on it. I write things on it, and every time I read it, I look at what I have written and what I have understood and what I'm reading right now, what I'm understanding right now. I look at the gaps, and so for me, it's an exploratory belief system for me.
And what are the resources that helps you in learning, apart from the Quran?
Well, there is this Islamic studies at Georgetown, and they're scholars. I tend to sort of tap into their podcasts and etc. I also look into the different interpretations of different people. For example, there's this book called The History of Quran, and it talks about 11 people who have read the Quran and performed. And it's from Muhammad, Hazrat Muhammad, to Osama bin Laden, for example, and Mevlana, Rumi, and etc. So Rumi read the Quran and wrote a poetry of love, but Osama bin Laden read the Quran and bombed the Twin Towers. It's the same. Everybody who reads the Quran can come up with a different interpretation of action into their daily lives. So that's actually the mysterious thing I am finding about Quran, and I also investigate furthermore, like if there's one Quran, one belief system, why are there sects like Shiism and Sunni and all that? Why is the struggle there? So I tend to go also into the battlefield of the philosophy. So for me, it's a continuous exploration.
And didn't you find what made you stick to Islam actually in Buddhism or Hinduism, since they are orienting yoga?
For me, yoga is a advanced namaz. Namaz is the basics, but yoga is more also different physical exercise, which you train your muscular system and energetic nervous system. Namaz as a whole is complete, but yoga is more advanced in terms of challenging yourself. And yoga, for example, namaz you can do it in all ages. Maybe yoga cannot be performed in all ages by all capacities. So yoga is for me a more advanced nervous and physical system advancement.
But I believe, since you believe in yoga and you believe in chakras and stuff, you believe also somehow in Hinduism or Buddhism. I'm not sure.
Yoga has nothing to do with a belief system. Yoga is an exercise format. Yes, it was the namaz of a religion called Sikhism. But I believe in the good deeds of yoga. Yoga has nothing to do with religion, and people should understand that. And if you perform namaz without actually the religious part, it's also a physical exercise. If you perform Tai Chi, it's also a physical exercise. And coming back to the isms, Buddhism or Hinduism, whatever, when you look at the core of those religions, they're not bad. They're saying the same thing. But at the same time, they're being intervened and changed and for certain purposes. But again, I believe in the core. I believe in the goodness and development and evolution of humanity. And yoga for me is not a belief system. Yoga is an exercise for me. Okay? Yes, I need to sort of end it here. It was a very interesting conversation with Noor. I made her talk. She made me talk more. In and Out with Professor Yalman from TED University, Ankara Studios, Radio TEDU. And see you next episode.